Hello and welcome to Stockholm with me, Woody, on this beautiful day. In today's video, I'd like to give you a tour of the capital city, which will be quite emotional for me because this is probably the last time that I will ever visit. But I have lived here for over 25 years, so I'll share with you my secret favourite places here in Stockholm and also some insights about the Swedish lifestyle and culture. So, does that sound fun? Let's get started.
So, as I was filming the intro there, I spotted these sailors having a spot of bother refueling their yacht. Eventually they seemed to figure it out, and they certainly had a lot of fun trying, which is the main thing. So we begin our tour on the south coast of Södermalm, one of the islands that make up Stockholm. This place is off the beaten track and popular with the locals for sunbathing, going walking with their prams, cycling and so on. This area here is where the boats are put up during the winter, because they don't keep them in the water because they get damaged by the ice. This will completely freeze over in the winter time, and you can go walking on the lake here. Seems like I couldn't go anywhere without stumbling over somebody lying on the jetties sunbathing. So we'll head up through some allotments now. This was interesting, an insect hotel. The only insect I could find though in here was actually crawling up my leg, maybe looking for the check-in. Down there you can see an inflatable tennis hall. And we also have an outdoors swimming pool, which people were making the most of on this beautiful sunny day. Now you might see ladies looking like this in Stockholm. These are beggars that have come up from Romania, Roma gypsies. I'm liking some of the urban architecture here. So this is an interesting location. On the left we have the sea. This is the Baltic Sea, which is salt water. Not very high levels of salt, but it's like brine. You can see the boats going in and out through the lock, which is just underneath the bridge here. And on the right hand side of the bridge, which we're not looking at right now, but that is a freshwater lake called Mälaren. And all the boat traffic has to pass through this lock to get from the lake to the open sea. Let's take a look on the other side here. We timed it just right to see the bridge opening up. It's always fun, I think, to see the tips of the masts passing through the drawbridge. This area on the south coast of Södermalm is my favourite part of Stockholm, I think. I did live here for many years and always enjoy revisiting and walking up and down the canal side here. It's always nice to see the boats going in and out and the various houseboats that are moored alongside. This particular part of the canal here is where I spent an entire summer trying to learn how to do wheelies. I was riding on the back wheel of my mountain bike, but failed. The only thing I managed to achieve was a damaged spine and lots of cuts and bruises. Here's another view of the lock. There's actually about a 2 or 3 metre difference in the height of the freshwater lake on the right and the sea on the left. And here are the bridges that take the car traffic and the underground trains over to the other side. Boating, of course, is really popular in Stockholm. Since Stockholm is made up of a number of interconnected islands surrounded by sea, either seawater or freshwater.
Okay, I guess you've probably had enough of Sofo by now, but this is by far my favourite part of Stockholm. But let's head north now and check out the city centre. First though, I do need to go pick up some stuff from my old office, which is all the way right there at the very top of that building. So that's going to give us a good opportunity to get some bird's eye views of Stockholm and get our bearings and orientation.
So the office is looking pretty much like a ghost town, but otherwise very much like it was the last time I actually worked here about 18 months ago, before the world went crazy. But we do get some wonderful views from outside the windows here. This is called Skatte Skrapet, and there is actually a public bar, a restaurant and like a sky bar right over where my office is located. So that's open to the general public, of course. See the famous Torn, one of the highest points in Stockholm. That's like a radio tower, and Gröna Lund, the Green Land, which is a big amusement park. There's a closer shot of Torn there. There's a restaurant at the top, I think. Here you can see one of the ferries about to make way and leave for Finland. Some more shots then here. Looking south, we can see another famous landmark of Stockholm. This is the Globen Sports and Concert Arena. Over there you can actually see a ski slope. In the winter you can go skiing on there. They do prepare the pistes. It's not very high, but better than nothing. Otherwise you have to travel a long way north to get to the real mountains of Sweden. Okay, let's head back down into the city and grab a spot of lunch. Solar-powered parking meters. So even though the prices are extortionate, you'll feel good about doing your part for the environment. Yes, we have the usual American chains, but I'm going to try and eat something a little bit more local. This then is Skanstull, another building that I've previously worked in. This is Åhléns, one of the big department stores here in Sweden. This is the busy crossing for the traffic leaving the island of Södermalm to go south. Let's head down here and grab some lunch. So, what you need to look out for if it's Monday to Friday is Dagens lunch. This is a special meal deal served by most restaurants. You tend to get a hot meal, a salad buffet, some bread usually, the drinks are included, a cold drink, and you'll even get a cup of coffee at the end. And all at a very reasonable price. Expect to pay between $10 and $15. This is the particular salad that this pizzeria was offering me. It's like a spicy pickled cabbage, and here is some bread that they made for me. The salami pasta was delicious. Lots of people enjoying the last rays of sunshine. This was in early August when I had my little walk here. Let's head up then north towards Stockholm city centre. We'll leave this part of Södermalm, head towards Folkungagatan. That's a hard one to say. This is another popular spot, Medborgarplatsen. Lots of bars here where I used to hang out quite a lot when I was 15 years younger. So let's talk a little bit about the weather if you're thinking about visiting Sweden. This is August, which was a beautiful warm day, and August and July tend to be rather hot with the temperatures between 20 and 30 degrees. After that you get cool, crisp autumn months, which are usually very pleasant as well. May, June, July is spring. What's this lady doing? Can someone tell me why she is removing her license plate? Are you allowed to do that? Anyway, the spring months of May, June can be a bit hit and miss. You often get very nice days, but also some rainy, cool days as well. The rest of the year, from October to March, tends to be winter temperatures. Rather cold, dark and somewhat dreary, which is one of the reasons I'm leaving Stockholm. Now we've reached Slussen, which is one of the major transport hubs under development. That's what it will look like when it's finished. Right before the pandemic struck, they did transport this massive golden bridge on a huge ship all the way from China where it was built. I wonder if they qualified for free shipping. It's nice to see it finally in place. There's another shot of it there, and this is the bridge that connects the island of Södermalm with the city centre. Actually with Gamla Stan, the old town, which is on its own separate island. You can see a shot of it there. These again are the huge ferries that go on a daily basis over to Finland, over the Baltic Sea, and there again is the amusement park, Gröna Lund, that we saw earlier. You can take these ferries over to Gröna Lund on the island of Djurgården, and it's actually included in your daily travel pass if you've bought one of the train tickets here. It's a really great way to take to the water. Here you can see the traffic flowing from the island of Södermalm north towards the city. We're still at Slussen. Some nice churches, although I don't remember what they're called. In the background there you can see a famous landmark, that is the City Hall, Stadshuset, which is where the Nobel Prize ceremony takes place every year. You can also go up into the tower and you get some spectacular views, so I highly recommend doing that. It's quite cheap as well. So let's say farewell to Södermalm. There's another sky bar up there on the lift as well. This is another famous place to visit. It's free to go up there and you get some nice views. Let's head over the Golden Bridge, and this is the first time I've ever walked on it since I saw it being delivered about 2 years ago. It's not made of gold, but it's painted in a gold colour. Now we've arrived to Gamla Stan, the old town, which is on its separate island. Here you can also take the ferries to the other parts of Stockholm. Again, a lot of people enjoying the sunshine here in the final months of summer. I really like this spot as well for a nice walk, a promenade. Watch the boats coming in and out. Here's the boat arriving from Gröna Lund on Djurgården, the amusement area, the Tivoli there. This is the best way to get there, I think. It takes about 15 minutes on the boat and a really fun way to get there. Otherwise it's quite a long walk to go all the way around. Quite amazing how many people were crammed onto this particular boat. Here's one of the crew members. And maybe it's because I was filming, but the skipper completely messed up the berthing there. pressure of being on camera, I guess. Second time lucky. There's a lot of nice historic boats you can also take a little journey on, as well as plenty of tour boats that take you through the locks that we saw earlier. That's another great way to see the city, I think. Take one of the longboats that does a tour of the canals. This is a slightly bigger vessel that's speeding away here.
Okay, I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's head into the main tourist attraction here in Stockholm, the old city, which is just over here. Actually, come to think of it, it's Gamla Stan, which translates to Old Town. Let's head up here.
Now, I very rarely visit this part of Stockholm. It's the most popular with the tourists, and probably for that reason, the part I like the least. It's always cram-packed with tourists from all over Europe, the States, Canada, Asia, and so on. Nothing against those tourists, but I just find it a little bit unauthentic here for some reason. You'll see in a minute all of the tourist traps and the touristy shops selling lots of junk. Here, by the way, is the Royal Castle. This is a nice place to visit if you're on the old city or nearby. Here's one of the guards. The sentries, you're not supposed to go and distract them. They get annoyed with you, I think, if they do, or they're supposed to ignore you. I don't quite remember the etiquette there. But they certainly get photographed a lot by the tourists. Here we are inside one of the courtyards in the Royal Palace. Here's a couple of off-duty sentries. I spotted you. And we seem to have changing of the guard ceremony going on here. I guess these guys are on their way to their own fika break. Yes, fika, by the way, is a very common expression, a common word. A fika break, or a fika, means just to take a short break, have a cup of coffee and some kind of pastry. So the guards didn't really look all that tough, did they, in their uniforms, but their trucks certainly looked the part. Leave Battalion. Here's one of the main squares in Gamla Stan. Some of the very quaint roads leading off to some very narrow streets. Always look up because the architecture can be really pretty. Another church that I don't know the name of. So this is one of the busy pedestrian streets then that leads through the centre of the old town. This is a place I normally avoid at all costs, but for you, my viewers, I'll do anything, so let's take a little stroll down here. I don't remember the name of the street, but you really can't miss it. Gamla Stan. The old town is not really very big, and this is some of the touristy tat that was on offer in the shop windows. Now, if you want Pippi Longstocking stuffed toys, then look no further than here. And in most of the shops, actually. Together with these moon troll things. But they're from Finland anyway, but most tourists wouldn't know the difference. Lots of ships here celebrating the nautical history of Sweden, and perhaps the famous Vasa Museum here, which is well worth a visit. A very old ship, I don't remember, several hundred years old, that was raised from the bottom of the Baltic here. It actually sank on its maiden voyage, but it's very well preserved. And now available for viewing in a nearby museum, the Vasa Museum. Highly recommended. Not sure if this lady is a famous pop star in some part of the world. Let me know in the comments. Comic book shop, if that's your thing. And this is how you spell fika. Don't get that confused with anything else. I find this poodle amusing. And this lady is making ice cream cones. I find it fascinating with her little circular production line here. Okay, at last, let's get out of here. Leaving the old town now and the tourist traps. In front of us you can see the Parliament houses. Another shot there of the Royal Palace from the other side. This is where the royal family stands to address their adoring public that will be assembled there in the street below. Looking away from the Royal Palace then, on the old town towards the modern Stockholm city centre, looking north towards the commercial area where you get all the businesses, the shops, the shopping malls and so on. We'll head over this bridge and take a look in a minute. And no, it's not just blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in Stockholm. Although there are lots of those as well.
Okay, we've now left Gamla Stan, the old town. You can see it there behind me. We've crossed over the bridge there that's taken us into the main sort of commercial city centre of Stockholm. We'll have a quick look around and then I think we can wrap up this little tour.
So this spot north of the old town is where you can also get boats, which will take you on a sightseeing tour through the locks and the canals all around Stockholm. You can also take ferries to the nearby archipelago there. That was tricky to say. Now we've made it all the way to Kungsträdgården, the King's Gardens. Popular place for the locals just to relax and chill out.
Well, my camcorder batteries are now depleted, so let's wrap this tour up here in Kungsträdgården on the mobile telephone. I really hope you enjoyed the video. It was a pleasure for me to show you some of my favourite places here in Stockholm that I've enjoyed the most over the last 25 years. And yes, thank you to Stockholm, really. I've had a wonderful time here. And I hope that you too sometime get the opportunity to come here and visit. It's a beautiful city, especially in the summertime, and the people are really chilled out and hospitable. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again soon. Cheerio. So now I've moved, and yes, I'm happy to say that myself and the family are loving the new location, and I'll be happy to share some of that with you in the future. But yes, I'm still playing occasionally.